Everybody in the world blind. Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Yeah. There's no mercy in this world, just hunger-thirsty persons in different versions. Each new update, that shit worsens. Why? Pull back the curtain and you'll see the different vermin. We all have different burdens that all seem to cause disturbance. Yo, do me a favor, don't treat me like a neighbor. Don't need the different flavors of your problems just to savor. I've got my own issues, I need a comb to get through. Don't need to groan with you, just go get your own tissue.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Before we get into this, if you guys are new, welcome everybody. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, make sure to throw that notification bell on. And with that out of the way, let's just jump right into it. So before we get into like the stat breakdown, really Clemson, let me say this too. Why, for the love of God, like, that's one of those disgusting losses I've ever seen out of the Clemson Tigers. Really, you own this team, own the South Carolina Gamecocks for 9 straight years, and decide to shit the bed at the worst way possible. You know, for being a longtime Clemson fan, this is disgusting that I ever seen. And DJ Ugalele, you are all going to be on your ass is going to be on the grill. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, to get it in perspective, DJ went 8 for 29, which is basically below 20% completion for 99 yards, 1 touchdown, and a pick. Spencer Rattler, your opposition, on the other hand, went 26 for 39, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. So you're telling me, and I'm going to put Dabo Swinney on the grill. At that point, if you know DJ is struggling, why not go to Cape Klubnik? At this point, what's your harm going to do? Because for me, I don't think DJ's the guy to really, lead this team, so to speak. And DJ has his most inconsistent moments. Like, this dude, like, if you could define inconsistency, DJ Ugalele is the perfect definition of inconsistency. And not to mention, we gave up 2 fucking fumbles. One by Antonio Williams in the 4th quarter at the worst possible fucking time to have a fumble. And Phil Maffa, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I mean, like, do these kick returns, learn to hang on to the fucking football because the special teams cost us. DJ, with him struggling, has cost us the game. And definitely Dabo, at this point, you have to put into consideration, at least it's, I don't know. And look at everything else. The only thing that Clemson was good for, they were 7 for 16 on third down. I mean, committed throwing 3 penalties for 23 penalty yards. South Carolina, our defense pretty much held them to 3 for 13 on third down, 5 penalties for 55 penalty yards. But other than that, though, man, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like this team just, you lose to Notre Dame, right? That really did hurt our chances to make the college playoffs. Now this was, whoo, for those who have not been part of this rivalry, it's, oh God, like I can't, words cannot describe of how stupid and I know probably Dabo and some of these guys, and we had in our own defensive players even get pissed off because we had frustration setting in because you decide to only put up 30 points against a team like South Carolina, who I think is good, but they're not great under Beamer. I think Rattler it's a decent quarterback, in my honest opinion, even though he did go for, like I said, 26 for 39, 360 yards. And you can definitely tell who's better. It was Spencer Rattler. No, I know it's like South Carolina I hate with a passion when it comes to college football because it's one of my division, it's my conference rival. And the fact that Antonio Williams had butterfingers in the fourth quarter, Phil Maffa, like I said, when he fumbled the football, it's ridiculous. The fact that, and especially on special teams, which a lot of times, like you would think, we have guys that just don't really do well in special teams, but yet Antonio Williams coughed up the football. Like I said, with Williams and Maffa coughed off the football, and I think Maffa coughed up in the second quarter. And then you had Williams coughing at the worst time, had an opportunity for a game-winning field goal. But no, none of these guys just really don't get the point. And I'm not saying Dabo is a bad coach, but at some point, Dabo's got to get in some of these guys' faces and actually set them straight. Because for me, I'm losing a lot of faith in DJ Uiagalelei. Like I said, I mean, DJ, man, it's just not inconsistent as hell. And I hate inconsistency. Like Dabo's been one of a good head coach for Clemson for the longest I can remember, and in years past too. But Dabo's been one of those coaches that have been very consistent over the years. But then you had talent like Deshaun Watson coming in, then you had Trevor Lawrence come in. Now you had DJ who sat behind Lawrence. Like I said, and I even said this too. Dude was sitting behind Trevor Lawrence, which is some big shoes to fill when he left for the NFL draft. But DJ, for me, just like the decision making and actually, no, I am not a bandwagon. A lot of people remember I have lived through the rivalry through my personal life, and like I said, DJ just never ceases to amaze. DJ is very disappointing. I remember that like I said, I've been to William Bryce State a couple of times through the Clemson games. Even though I was a lot younger back then, but up to this point, I've seen the talent like Deshaun Watson really shine out. And there's some bright spots too on this Clemson team. Jeremiah Trotter really showing he's kind of played like his dad. And I mean, a lot of Eagles fans remember his dad was a monster during his time in the NFL. It's just for me and Mickens. Oh, don't get me started on Mickens because Mickens, I'm going to be on your ass too. Why in the fucking hell did you have to go for a targeting? Like Larry, you couldn't use the shoulder tackle, go for the legs, but yet you had to do the dumb decision to lean with the crown on your helmet. And it pretty much cost you, I don't know. And as soon as he got ejected, that's pretty much when all went to fucking downhill. Well, it comes to defensively anyways. And we had guys, we got to have guys constantly getting hurt. Whew. I don't blame you, man, but this has always been one of the things when I think with Clemson. First of all, we should never lost. See, and going back to what I said about Notre Dame, I don't think Notre Dame's really that good of a football program. I think the old college football world knows how dumb Notre Dame really is. But since losing to the Notre Dame Fighter Irish, that really hurt off our playoff chances. And this, like I said, this ain't making up for it, because even I did said on record that the Clemson Tigers were to go 10-2. I had one of those losses going to the Florida State Seminoles, but somehow the Clemson Tigers pull a win away from the Florida State Florida State. But I don't get it. Like the Clemson Tigers, it's just like Dabo. I mean, no, I don't think that. Look, Dabo. I know people say, look, I want to give Dabo some credit though. I mean, look, he can do so much, but man, you got to get some of these guys figured out, because you ain't get like. I think this is what the second or third year, that Devils missed the playoffs. Probably, I could be wrong, but the fact that DJ, let's be real, had an under 20% completion percentage for under 100 yards. He's done that more than a couple times this season, and at this point, and I love the Clemson Tigers as when I was a young kid, but DJ, like I said, it's been very disappointing. He's been up and down. It's just like you have a guy like Spencer Rattler for South Carolina, who we know all this shit that's been going on with him. Kind of everyone's saying, it's the cock. Outplayed you. And it's like it's going to get to the point where people are going to, especially Clemson fans like myself, we realize too, as soon as Deshaun left, we did find a really good replacement. I would say replacement, but a better recruit in Trevor Lawrence, who had a really good year with the Clemson Tigers in the last couple of years. But when Trevor Lawrence went into the draft, then we had DJ coming in. Even though it was a 10-2 record, but I wish we could have been a lot better than of how we, especially in some games that we played. Especially Notre Dame, but still going into the next season is still going to bug me to forever. Like I said, I tell this too. GG's to the Carolina Gamecocks. Y'all outplayed us. But like I said, Dabo at this point has to realize, I don't think DJ's the guy. I really don't think so. Even though he might be a junior, but I just don't see him being the I won't say the long-term future, but I've seen what Cade Klubnik can do. Honestly, Cade Klubnik's got a better arm. Even though Cade Klubnik is more of a gunslinger than DJ, because DJ's more of a dual threat. But for me, it's just like DJ has been inconsistent this entire year. Now, granted, like I said, he has his struggles. Yes, which quarterback doesn't? But DJ, for the love of God, there was like 3 or 4 times where this man has really, literally shit the bed. Like I've seen quarterbacks worse than him actually outplay DJ Uiagalelei. Now I apologize for the name pronunciation, but you gotta have to put this the way that I would see it, because DJ just, when he's on, when he has a good game, he looks really good. But most of the time he just has a lot of struggles, and it really frustrates me. Not just me, not just my buddy Tyler, the Clemson Tiger fan base it's very frustrating, especially Antonio Williams. And I'm not going to let Antonio Williams slide, especially the fact that you fumble close to field goal range, had an opportunity to win it off with the walk-off field goal, but you decided to be so reckless with the football. Let that, and just that's pretty much what sealed it. That's just basically what sealed the deal for our second loss of the year. And Maffa, I don't know exactly what the hell Maffa was doing. And look, and I like Dabo, how he's doing creative play, but for the love of God, please say that off of special teams, because I will say this too, the special teams, like I said, has cost us twice so far in this game. And the worst one, look, the Phil Maffa fumble in the second quarter, I actually kind of let that slide a little bit, but Antonio Williams, like I said, Antonio Williams is one of those guys I will put this in capitals, never let that slide. Because, I've never seen a guy. I mean, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I thought when Tony Williams has a really good game, he's a good game. He's a good guy. But for the love of God, get somebody else better for special teams. Because for the love of God, I don't think Tony Williams is it for special teams. Because you got some really good defensive pieces that's been, and not just that. I mean, you had some better offensive pieces you could use, has better hands and better speed. Let's be real. That's something that at times it has. I don't know, man, but it is ridiculous to see for a team that we've owned for 9 years, even though we have a lot of more. Well, currently, and I don't know. Like I don't get it through some of these players' heads. Like some of them just shut off. Like I said, DJ, his mind just went elsewhere. And looking at the stat line that he had, it makes me want. It's disgusting. It makes me sick to my stomach to the point where, like, but man, like I said, Clemson Tigers, man, like you had an opportunity to have an opportunity to at least save your collegiate season. At this point, I don't think that's good. I don't think we may never see the playoffs. Let's be real, because for me, like I said, let's go back to what I was saying earlier about DJ. When DJ has some good decision making in some certain games that we've seen, DJ can put this team on his back. But this game though, man, it's just been. And look, and what I mean when it comes to the offensive play, for me the biggest bright spot was Will Shipley. Will Shipley, I mean, this dude can do it all. Pretty much was the leading rusher. I think 15 carries for over almost 130 yards rushing on the ground. Like this dude tried to carry the team on his back offensively because the receivers, y'all got bricks for fucking hands. Like the receivers were constantly dropping passes, and like I said, and this was also ties back to DJ. DJ, his decision making at times, like I said, it was certain games that we've seen wasn't the best. It's like I don't get it how some of these college quarterbacks decide to. I would say not say, I don't know, but obviously the Clemson Tigers finished 10-2, which I did say on record at one point that I said I had this team going 10-2. A lot of times I had this team, like it's funny. I even said this too, that the two losses that I had was against Florida State. So now Florida State was going to give a run for our money, and who else would I say it was? I can't remember what the other team was, but. Because there was two teams on our. Actually, let me double check our schedule because I am like drawing a blank right now. This is because, like I said, I mean, because I am like drawing a blank on the second team that I said. Just give me 1 second here. Okay. However, I mean, look. But the benefit of the doubt is there's some positives to this you can take away. Yes, I mean, we've seen guys really step up and actually really had a really good season. Like I said, Jeremiah Trotter, as a longtime Eagles fan, I remember, his dad was a fucking monster on the defensive end. Still, I mean, his son, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., still plays like his dad at the college level. Now, it's going to be a little bit different if he does decide to go to the draft. Will Shipley, I thought he's actually a solid running back. Well, I would say, he's really considered more kind of like a flex back, I would say. Because, I mean, Shipley can do it all. Like, he's an all around kind of running back. Like you see nowadays, a guy like, Saquon or Miles Sanders, all that stuff. But now the third, but I will say this too. The only positives, even though we did commit 3 penalties, I wish we could have played a lot smarter football. Like I said, especially on special teams, which a lot of times people have to realize too. If you forget about special teams, a lot of times you're not going to win a lot of games. And like I said, the film off a fumble in the first half, like I said, I'll let that slide, even though that did kind of hurt us a little bit to put more points up on the board. But like I said, and this is going back to what I said about Antonio Williams. Ever since, we had a couple guys back. When we got Bo Collins back from a shoulder injury, which kept him out for 2 games, that really did hurt the receiving core. And the receivers, like I said, they just could not, even with the simple catches or the simple passes that DJ's given them, even though I know I'm going to blame a little bit on DJ, but I'm going to put some blame on the receiving corps for not catching the goddamn football, because I don't understand what's going through these players' heads. I mean, look, all in all, we finished 10-2 and 8-0 in conference play. I mean, you can't really ask more from that. Let's see. I did had us losing to. Yo, what up, Adam? What is good, my guy? Like I said, and when I did say this team was going to go 10-2, the two losses I would have had us losing was Florida State. Yeah, let's see what's this. And I would say and Syracuse. That's right, it was Syracuse. So Florida State and Syracuse were, I would say, were my two losses. Follow. Yeah. And take it from me, like we were a two-loss team, and we got set back. And it's funny because I know we're going to see these diehard college like football nerds decide want to disrespect the Clemson Tigers, and a good portion, yes. I mean, there was some, and this is why I'm going back to what I said about this game. This was a key game for the Clemson Tigers. Now, a lot of people don't remember the history. I mean, these South Carolina and Clemson, which I didn't freaking know this in Clemson's history. This all dates back to 1896 of how many we met this team so many times over for a long time. But since 2013, we owned. I mean, I think after 2013, which is the only time we ever lost to them, but ever since, or I think prior to 2013, but I think from 2013 on for the 9 straight years, we pretty much owned the South Carolina Gamecocks. And for some odd reason, I know this may sound crazy, but I feel like they kind of got to their heads a little bit. I think they kind of got ahead of themselves a little bit and just played some sloppy football, especially towards the second half. And, you know, and just really looking at it, it's just, like I said, I mean, there were a lot of mistakes that should never have happened. Yeah. I say that, and this is why a lot of times, I mean, we saw how bad Notre Dame is. Now, like I said, and I will admit, we did not play our best against Notre Dame, which I thought this team would steamroll through Notre Dame since after Brian Kelly left that program, and we know how a lot of other the college football work on it pokes fun at it, because they can't beat I think ranked or unranked teams on their schedule, because I think that's the only team that I think that actually picks out their schedule. But like I said, man, we actually did pretty solid on third down, 7 for 16 on third down. Even though we did commit 3 penalties throughout the game. South Carolina, though, our defense actually played solid defensively. Held Carolina 3 for 13 on third down attempts, and forced them to commit 5 penalties. But in the end, South Carolina comes up with the win, and like it's embarrassing. I mean, like, it's a disappointing loss. I get that, but for those who have not followed college, Clemson football, as long as me and my buddy Tyler, who is my other half of the Philly Sports Talk podcast, this loss sucks. Now, like, say we lose to like a different team, like, say NC State, we really wouldn't care as much, because this game, people have to realize of how meaningful, especially this rivalry is. The Palmetto. Yeah, but I don't, like I said, Spencer Rattler, I'll give this man credit where credit's due. Actually played, I think, probably the best football I've seen out of him. Better than what he did at Oklahoma, I will tell you. But I still think there's nothing special for him to be like a top tier kind of quarterback. But I think he's going to be a very good quarterback if he does decide to go to the draft. Is he going to be like these? But I mean, from what, like I said, what we saw out of Spencer Rattler, he pretty much just carved up our second, and honestly more for third stringers, because most of our first and second stringers were getting hurt left and fucking right, and especially a part of our defense, especially in the secondary, which we always had some pretty decent secondary. Well, I could be, I mean, I'm wrong a little bit on that one, because the secondary for so some prospects that came out since coming out of Clemson in the secondary, Andrew Booth Jr., who for me I never really seen too much talent out of, because the dude, I mean, this dude was just getting cooked left and right. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just the way that it is. And it's sad. You know, I mean, it's sad for the Clemson Tigers to go out that way. Now I got to wait to see how this all plays out. It was. Oh, that's for sure. You know, and this is why I said a lot of times too. This rivalry that for this Palmetto Bowl rivalry, for bragging rights, I feel for me it got into their heads a little bit. You know, I think, and DJ, for the love of God, I mean, like I said, man, I'm 50-50 on our starting quarterback, DJ Ugalele. I mean, since ever taking over after Trevor Lawrence left for the NFL. But I don't know. But I think for me, I think Dabble Swinney needs to put in consideration. Ah, damn. But like I said, man, it's a disgusting loss. I mean, for lack of a better term, for those who are in the chat groups that say me I'm a bandwagon, you're definitely wrong. Because even though I've experienced it at a very young age, I don't remember the older side of things, but I remember the days, especially when Sean Watson was there with you also had Hunter Renfrow, and so some of these other guys that are in the NFL. Mike Williams. For the love of God, the dude can't stay healthy, which is very unfortunate. And there's some couple, I would say, busts coming out of Clemson. I would say Anthony Booth Jr. for me, I think I would consider a bust. Now, granted, I know it's very harsh to say, but it's early to tell. But the way that he's been playing so far in the NFL kind of plays like a bust. Mario Gurge, not entirely too sure on him. I really didn't see much of him. Yeah, Tennessee. I don't get it with Tennessee. Tennessee just kind of fallen off. And like I said, when I go back to what I said about Antonio Williams, when he plays well, and there were some moments where he actually played very well on special teams. But these guys like Phil Mafo, I think probably our best third string running back, I would say, because Will Shipley is definitely number one or all arounder. But most of the time, I think, Phil Maffa, I think probably, especially in that first half, probably the most dumbest fumble you could ever think. Why the hell just hang on to the football? There's a thing called use two arms. I never played the game, but it's just like, it's common sense. Ah, shit. Speaking of another Oregon fan in here, what up, Randy? What is good? But like I said, man, it's been one of those things that's like, it's very disgusting. The way that if you really looked at this game, DJ, like I said, shit the bed hard. Now I know that's really rough to say, but DJ has games like this throughout the year, and it got to the point where there were some instances where we saw K. Klubnik overtake that because. I mean, it could at least can't be. That's a decent finish, I would say. Finished 500, but I mean, it could have been a lot better. And I would definitely agree with that. But people have to also realize too that we have some decent competition, the ACC, which for me, I don't think the ACC. And this is where I would say just too. Yes, I mean, there's some teams at the ACC that have cupcake schedules, and other people are going to poke that. I am going to do the Eagles game on my own. I'm going to do that on my own. But other than that, dude, like I said, man, now, like I said, did we have a cupcake schedule? Partially. And when I say that, it's because we have some teams on our schedule that we completely stomped. I mean, really think about it. I mean, Georgia Tech, I'll give Georgia Tech a lot of credit, though, for being such a scrappy team. But, man, we just stomped into the ground. To start off 1-0 in the season. Furman, don't know exactly too much about them. We stomped them 35-12. Louisiana Tech, decent football program. Stomped them 48-20. Now, the one team that has given us fucking a run for our money, which I'll give a lot of credit to, is that Wake Forest, though, gave us a run for our money in double overtime, which we did get one to pull out a win. 51-45 wasn't easy, But I mean, it was a tough one, tough game to play. Eh, eh, I mean, they're making it a lot harder to keep. Well, I'll talk about Sixers in a different thing, but with NC State, which I've done that game, we won by 10. I mean, wasn't easy ass. I mean, it was a decent ass whooping, but the one ass whooping we gave to one team, that is true. It's Boston College. Boston College, for some reason, for me, which, like I said, I don't know too much about Boston College, but man, we curve stomped them 31-3. Then Florida State, even though we were trailing for most of the game, we decided to pull a 34-28 victory out of our ass over Florida State. Then Syracuse gave us a run for money with a comeback win over that 27-21. Now, Notre Dame, like I said, that was an away game on Saturday, November 5th. We lost 35-14, and good Lord, that was disgusting. And it was so embarrassing. And it's funny because, people want to say, people got to realize, too, the ACC, yes, it may not be as strong as the SEC or the Big 12 or the Big 10 or the Big 12, Pac 10, Pac 12, I should say. But we got some decent. I mean, the Clemson Tigers, you got to give where credit's due. We played some decent competition. Now, if we did play somewhere at the SEC, that's a whole different story. I have heard some rumors about that, but I don't think it's really going to happen. But even though the only SEC team I think we did play this year was South Carolina, but for me though, it's just look at it. If you really watch this game through and through from the first quarter to the fourth, you would have told people would have told me that this Clemson team would definitely I won't say steamroll, but we definitely could have beat them. And I would say you definitely would be right. But unfortunately, when you have a guy like Beamer who's been coaching this team with some good coaching, it does. I mean, the Gamecocks played a lot better. And, GG's to them. You beat us. Plain and simple. I mean, it's just no way to, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it's been very, very disappointing. But still, it was a good season overall. Like I said, 10-2 record. We went perfect 8-0 in conference play. This, I know it's like, and this is where, like I said, these cupcake schedule bullshit that's people can spin spewing, no matter which team it is. But yeah, no one says anything about Michigan or these other teams that have cupcake schedules. But yet, you want to talk shit on the Clemson Tigers, who actually play some decent competition in the ACC, which for me, I don't think is one of the better conferences, but we have some decent competition. Like, I got to give the Clemson Tigers some love, though. And one guy in particular I do want to call out, though, because of that, is ECG. And as much as I love the guy, but, dude, I swear, I'm sorry, but I don't think the Florida State Seminoles ain't that nothing special. Even though they have some good talent, though, I'll give them that. But a lot of times, people have to realize, too, the Clemson can do so much of what they have. It's not like the team what they had like in 2016, 2017. Hell, even 2018 was a really good year too for them at the same time. And shit, we lost. I think we split with Alabama in the national title game. I think 2016, 2017. Yeah, but it's like, look, the fact when we won the national title over Alabama, that's one of the biggest accomplishments for me, and which I loved as a Clemson fan, a longtime diehard Clemson fan, because let's be real, Alabama is probably one of the most overrated college programs in NCAA football. But I will say this too, even though Alabama may be overrated, but they know how to produce some talent. Now I know there's going to be some talent that are actually, I want to say bust, but they're kind of on the fringe, I would say. But yeah, it's just like, it's hard to describe of how bad this loss truly is. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to say, the fact that we dropped, and granted, yes, it is an SEC team. And the Gamecocks, though, even though it's a tough conference in the SEC, I mean, they played us. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, it's the way that it is. But other than that, though, yeah, Clemson loses a tough one, 31-30 by a 1 point margin. I think we had games we first of all, I mean that like I said, that Notre Dame loss, that 35-14 loss Notre Dame really threw us off. And that really hurt us to make the college football playoffs, which even losing to Clemson though, or sorry, losing to South Carolina, I don't know. Well, we'll see how the rest of the college football plays out. But if we somehow get lucky, I'm okay. But I don't think really I'm really that confident, because if we still have DJ under center, yeah, I wouldn't expect this team going far under DJ. Even though, like I said, DJ has just been one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks that we had in quite some time. But I mean, we still had to produce some decent talent, some great talent, like Watson, Trevor Lawrence. I hate to say he's become an overrated bust. Hunter Renfro, Mike Williams, and many others that I can't think of off the top of my head, but that were like the more known names. But like I said, the Clemson Tigers dropped their final game of the year, 31-30, which, to be honest, it's very embarrassing. But yeah, but Gamecocks fans out there, y'all deserve to talk shit. It is what it is. Like, there's really can't. Look, I'll take this L around the chin. It is what it is. We played ahead of ourselves, and Spencer Rattler just showed it, exploited that. Now, granted, too, we dealt with some serious injuries, but Mickens, though, for the love of God, and for those who are just coming in, I've put so many people on the grill for the Clemson Tigers. DJ's definitely on the grill. Mickens is definitely on the grill, one of our cornerbacks, for the dumbest decision that he's ever made. Leading, really targeting, like I said, not going to further detail. Definitely going to put some I'm going to put Dabo Swinney a little bit on the grill, but Dabo could, like I said, can do so much. But I will say this too: whoever the special teams coordinator is, your ass is on the grill, because for the love of God, what the hell was that? You couldn't go for, look, we run the hell at the ball, especially more than Will Shipley, but Will Shipley could do so much, because the receivers ain't want to we getting Bo Collins back from that shoulder injury that kept him out for 2 games, or for 2 games against Syracuse. I think also Florida State where he kept him out. And he decides to get hurt again, and unfortunately deals with a wrist injury, knocks him out of the game completely. That kind of hurt the receiving core. Antonio Williams, I think one of our backup receivers, I think he's got bricks for hands. Like I said, he fumbles at the worst part, like not really hanging onto the football to close to his chest. And this is why a lot of times people, even though I know Will Shipley's a freshman, but some of these upperclassmen, they have to follow. See, these wide receivers do know should learn from Will Shipley on how to hang on to the goddamn football, because good Lord. And I'm talking to you, Phil Maffa, because good Lord, what the fuck was that? Like, I do not understand the thought process, especially with these coordinators. And, there's a lot of things that costed us. Obviously, special teams is one of them, because if you can't win all the special teams, you really can't win. You really don't win games as much as that way, because you have to win all 3 facets. Yes, I know we dealt with some injuries, which happens. And, it was poor quarterback play. It is what it is. We just had poor quarterback play from DJ. Like I said, for those who are just coming in, DJ, so far through the entire game, went for 8 for 29, which is basically under 20%, for about 99 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And at this point, and Clemson fans, even myself included, my buddy Tyler, I think even me, like I said, and for those who don't know, my buddy Tyler Coleman, who's the other half of the Philly Sports Talk podcast, we kind of talked about this behind the scenes of basically how we feel about him. And we're 50-50 on him. And it's going to get to the point where, I'm hoping Dabo Swinney realizes to use K. Klubnik, or at least take a look at K. Klubnik, and hopefully go into next year. And just see what happens. Because for me, the way that DJ has played this entire year, plays more like a backup to me. That's the way that I see it. But with that being said, though, I'm going to wrap it up here. And Appreciate everybody that's come in and tuning into me rant, because this was very disappointing. No way to sugarcoat it. There was very little positives, but majority of the time it's just been a whole negative. Will Shipley can do so much, especially offensively. But everybody else, so Williams, Maffa, haven't really done much. But losing Bo Collins really, really hurt, because I was excited to have him back, because I think Bo Collins, a lot of people are not going to give this kid a lot of credit, though, was, losing when we lost him to a shoulder injury that kept him up for 2 weeks. It really, even though we did play decent without him, but it was still, the receiving core has really not been the same since without having Bo Collins. And, it was so very unfortunate that he just dealt with the wrist injury, and unfortunately, that knocked him out of the game completely. And Mickens, and for those who, like I said, it's another guy that I would torch instantly for that targeting, because that was one of the stupidest decisions that that kid has made. Now, granted, I think, I'm not going to get that kid too much harsh, because he has been one of our better secondary players. But come on, man, you got to know better than that. At least go for the legs and try to take the player's legs out from underneath him. It's just like, it's simple football, really. But the fact that you decide to lean with the crown of your helmet and you got yourself disqualified really kind of hurt the secondary. We had some pretty decent secondary players over the last couple, like 3 to 4 years. But, we always find some good recruits, that's for sure. But knowing what Mickens did, that really screwed with our secondary. And what I mean by this, we had to rely on our second and our third stringers. That's bad when we had one of our other ones. Crap, I can't think of his name. He was kind of dealing with an injury of his own. I would say more of like a thigh injury, and decided to play through it, which was very unfortunate, because, Dabble thought about taking him out, because with that thigh injury, and unfortunately, when Mickens got himself ejected, unfortunately that was a change of plans. And like I said, Dabble can go on the grill a little bit. I don't really think he's like a full-time part of the grill. And for those who kind of know what the quote unquote the metaphorical grill is who I'm going to torch this week or in the upcoming weeks in football, because we do it a lot. But in college football, there was a lot of people that are going on the grill. Like I said, Phil Maffa, Antonio Williams, DJ Ukulele, the special teams coordinator, whoever the hell that is. But that's all I got. Like I said, I appreciate everybody that's come in trying to just hear me rant and just kind of be pissed off at how this game is going on. And like I said, GG's to the Clemson, the South Carolina Gamecocks for outplaying us. You had better quarterback play. You just had better offensive playing than what we showed. Because the only good source of offense was going through Will Shipley. And that's sad. That's really embarrassing. And if I'm Dabo at this point, like I said, kind of reiterate, try to find somebody that's better than DJ, because DJ it's been very inconsistent the last, even though this is I think his second year behind center, even though, like I said, the first year, I haven't really got to see him much of the first year. But, obviously because of the pandemic year, but that's besides the point. But with that being said, the Clemson Tigers decided to drop the ball on this one, because this was a meaningful game to keep our playoff season hopes alive. But to be quite frankly with you guys, I don't even know if we're going to make the playoffs. I really don't. The way that we played today, we played like a bowl game, like a bowl type of team. We do have the ACC championship game though against the Tar Heels, which, yikes, I'm kind of nervous about, because we know how good the North Carolina Tar Heels have been. But we'll see how that goes on Saturday, December 3rd. Let me check. Let me double check that. And let's see. Yeah, so Saturday, December 3rd, we play at Bank of America Stadium against the Tar Heels at 8 o'clock. And I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of nervous because I feel like this is where it determines to get into the playoffs. because if we decide to shit the bed that we did today against the Gamecocks, then that's it. That's our season, right there in a nutshell. I don't think technically this was a quote unquote bowl game, the Palmetto Bowl. For those who don't know, that is the rivalry between the Clemson Tigers and the Gamecocks, which is basically determines the bracket rights, like who's the better team in South Carolina. Today, it showed the Gamecocks were a lot better than what the Clemson Tigers were put out. Like I said, Will Shipley pretty much was our main source of the offense. You know, I mean, we had some guys get some touchdown passes here and there, but majority of the time, our receivers can't catch for shit. Like this is where that worries me. If DJ is behind center and if he can't make the right decisions, then there go. Like I said, there goes our playoff hopes. And yeah, it's going to piss everybody off. It's going to really piss off the Clemson fan base. No, I think Sweeney is a really good coach. I mean, look, Dabo Sweeney's a really good coach, though. Don't get me wrong, but you know, at this point, I really hope this guy Dabo can really take into consideration to make a quarterback change going into the 2023, because if we're going to have DJ, you know, completely be another inconsistent year, it's gonna take a while to, you know, find the guy to really lead this team. Because for me, I think Cade, you know, in a short sample size, I've seen Cade Klubnik the first time when I seen him. Despite the fact that we were up 30 plus over Georgia Tech, which is was the opening night, he decides to put more points up on the board. And from what I've seen out of Cade Klubnik, you know, even though he may not be what DJ is as a dual threat, but what you're going to get out of Cade Klubnik and a short sample that I've seen out of him, it's more of you're going to get more of like a gunslinger and can make some really good short to deep passes. That's what you're going to get on a consistent basis. Even though, like I said, it was a short sample size, but if you can get him like a full season, I think it could be a lot different. But yeah, we'll see. Like I say, I'm in. But that's, like I said, that's going to do it for this little bit of a recap. I know it's a late night recap, but like I said, man, for those who I love Clemson football better than anything else, because people would think, you know, even though my name is Philly Sports Podcast, because when it comes to college football, you want to try to go for Temple. For me, I don't think Temple's really that special, but I think been around the Clemson Tigers long enough, like I actually knew who my college team truly was, because I've lived a lot of people, and this is what I said. Go back to what I said earlier. I've experienced the rivalry. I've been to a few games at Clemson and Memorial. Well, I don't know exactly what it was called back then. And I remember William Bryce Stadium in Columbia. Like I've experienced the rivalry firsthand, and I've had family members to this day are still diehard Clemson and South Carolina Gamecocks fans. Even though I hate the Gamecocks, but I still love them. It's still family. But I mean, looking at this as a whole, it's been. I mean, look, it's in the end, like I said, it was a good season. Could have been a lot better, absolutely. Like I said, that the Notre Dame one, for as long as he can sit with me, being a long time Clemson fan, it's still not going to sit well with me, because the fact that we lost to an unranked team now, who's actually become ranked now, I think 15th or 16th. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was embarrassing. You know, the fact we got flat out embarrassed by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish team, who, for the love of God, cannot beat a ranked team or unranked team on their schedule to save their damn lives. You know, that's just the way it is what it is. But Wake Forest, this is probably one of the better competitions that we face. Same with the Gamecocks, even though the Gamecocks is an SEC team, and we know how competitive the SEC really is. But other than that, though, I really hope, and this is what my final thing before we head out of here, is that Dabo, please, for the love of God, consider having a quarterback change, because if you were continuing to rely on DJ and we're getting stat lines like this almost 2 to 3 nights a game, at that point, for me, it's just like the way that I see DJ, nothing more than a fit. I mean, if I do say, actually, you know what? That's another good thing I want to kind of talk about is for the last thing. Like, where do I think if he does decide to go for the draft, where do I think DJ is going to wind up? Probably more like lower rounds, like between fifth and seventh rounder at best, because that's just how DJ is. I mean, at best, is more than a mid fifth, fourth rounder at best, but it's just. See, I mean, look, I know basketball's a whole different thing, but yeah, people that really say it's, but like I said, I mean, it's going to be interesting what's going to see going to 2023 for college football. And, hopefully DJ either, nut up and shut up, or if I'm Dabo, make a quarterback change. Because I'm Dabo, I shouldn't make that as an ultimatum to DJ. Because DJ, I mean, for the love of God, what just really did not seem really right, I would say. Even though, granted, he has played a little bit banged up in this game, but that's still there was no and this was another good point that my buddy Tyler made. There was no excuses for you to lose this game. There was no excuses, and the fact of the matter is that you decide to play like that. I mean, I don't know. But like I said, that's going to do it for this little bit of a recap and / rant. I know, kind of repeat myself a little bit because this loss, for those who kind of, is embarrassing to say the least. The fact we dropped the last game of the year to an SEC team, which granted, SEC teams are going to be hard to beat. It's tough. But with that being said, though, this was Robert from the Philly Sports Talk Podcast. Appreciate anybody that's tuned in. Have a good night, everybody.